Now, one of the most frustrating aspects of motorsports, but one that's impossible to eliminate, is drivers losing wins through time penalties, or even worse, disqualifications hours after the fans have gone home and the cars have already been disassembled into thousands of parts. Antonio Felix da Costa was of course one of the latest victims of a post-race disqualification, and in predictable fashion led to outroar and guffaws from certain corners of the motorsports world. So join us as we take a look at all 8 occurrences where drivers have lost a win after the checkered flag. Number 1. At the 2015 Berlin E-Prix, Lucas di Grassi took the lead on the opening lap from pole sitter Jarno Trulli. Yes, the inventor of the Trulli train himself was a Formula E driver back in the day. The Brazilian then dominated the race, leading home P2 on the road Jerome D'Ambrosio by 12 seconds, which is a near eternity by Formula E standards. Di Grassi's car then failed post-race scrutineering, which will be a theme in this video. The scrutineering team found that his app machine had a modified front wing. The app team argued that the changes, which were made while making repairs to the wing, had no performance benefit. Nonetheless, the team decided not to appeal the penalty. Number 2. At the 2015 London E-Prix, Stefan Sarrazin took pole for the second race at the tight and twisty Battersea Park circuit. While this race is better known for being the site of the epic title decider between Nelson Piquet Jr. and Sébastien Buemi that bookended Formula E's inaugural season, it also saw the Frenchman Sarrazin lose his only win in Formula E. The Venturi driver was handed a drive-through penalty, which was converted into a 49-second penalty for energy overuse. This dropped Sarrazin to 16th and well out of the points. Number 3. At the inaugural 2016 Mexico City E-Prix, Lucas di Grassi was disqualified from the race after the stewards found that his first car was underweight by 1.8 kilograms, which accounted for 0.2% of the total weight of the car. While it is a minuscule amount in the grand scheme of things, in motorsport, a light car is a fast car, so it's an infraction that will always be penalised. The result handed the win to Jerome D'Ambrosio, giving the Belgian driver his second win in the series, both coming from di Grassi's disqualifications. Number 4. Felix Rosenqvist was the man of the moment at the 2017 Berlin E-Prix, storming to win in the first race of the weekend and taking pole position for the second. All was going smoothly for Rosenqvist as he entered the pits for his mandatory pit stop, where he would switch to his second car. However, while exiting the garage, Rosenqvist came out in the path of none other than his teammate Nick Heidfeld, causing the German to take evasive action. The stewards would later give the Swede a 10-second time penalty for the unsafe release. This would drop Rosenqvist down to second place in the final classification, handing the win to Sébastien Buemi. Number 5. The second race of the Season 4 opening E-Prix in Hong Kong was a chaotic affair with a crazy finish. Before the race even got going, a circuit board failed in the starting lights, forcing the race to start behind the safety car. Then Felix Rosenqvist, starting on pole, dramatically spun at the first corner, dropping him down the order. Eduardo Mortara would take the lead and look ready to win his first Formula E race before an issue with his brakes caused him to spin with 2 laps to go. Daniel Abt inherited the lead and appeared to win his first race in the series. However, the stewards had other plans. It was found that the FIA stickers on the inverter and MGU of Abt's car did not match the ones in the team's technical passport. While Audi were adamant that there were no performance advantage, something they're probably quite right on, the draconian nature of Formula E's rules left the stewards with no choice but to disqualify Abt, promoting pole sitter Rosenqvist to first, who recovered from his first lap spin. Number 6. Upon returning to Hong Kong just over a year later for the 5th race of Season 5, the Harbourfront circuit would once again be home to another driver losing a win. Formula E's 50th race turned out to be a wet and chaotic affair, with multiple drivers crashing out on the opening lap and the red flag being thrown. On the restart, Oliver Rowland would make a crucial mistake, accidentally activating the full course yellow limiter on a straight, prompting discussion of one of motorsport's great philosophical questions, courtesy of the one and only Walter Costa. Is driving too complicated with 20 and more buttons on the wheel? Are you too much under effort, under pressure? Less buttons? More? Well, philosophical ramblings aside, this handed the lead to Sam Bird temporarily, before he too made a mistake and went deep into turn 2. This led the way for Andre Lotterer to take the lead. Racing would continue around the tight Hong Kong track, with Bird unable to find a way past the German. With 2 minutes left in the race, Bird hit the back of Lotterer, giving him a puncture. Bird then sailed past, taking the checkered flag shortly thereafter. After the podium ceremony was finished, the stewards gave a 5-second time penalty to Bird, dropping him to 6th place. The penalty also promoted Eduardo Mortara to first, allowing the Swiss driver to claim his first win in the series 1 year after losing his first at the same venue. Number 7. Season 7 of Formula E was chaos in a nutshell. A crazy qualifying format, shenanigans removing energy, and a host of new venues including Puebla, which sat in the shadow of a volcano in the Mexican countryside. Pascal Wehrlein dominated qualifying, setting the fastest lap in the group stage as well as super pole. Wehrlein would then dominate the race, only falling out of the lead when activating attack mode. However, he was disqualified immediately after crossing the finish line under bizarre circumstances. Similar to App's disqualification in Hong Kong 4 years earlier, it was a mere administrative error that led to Wehrlein's disqualification, as Porsche had not declared which set of Michelin tyres they would use for the E-Prix. This snafu would hand the win to Lucas de Grassi, who in some way was getting the rub of the green after losing 2 races and possibly a championship in earlier seasons due to disqualifications. Number 8. Our most recent entry in the pantheon of drivers who have lost wins is Antonio Felix da Costa at the recent 2024 Misano E-Prix. The picturesque circuit located in the hills of Rimini hosted a tense and chaotic affair that at times closer resembled a stage of the famed Giro d'Italia than a car race. Da Costa drove a careful and calculated race and made sure that he was always within touching distance of the lead. He also did an excellent job of managing his energy and was consistently up on the drivers around him. This allowed him to execute a well-timed push to the front to take the lead in the closing laps before taking the checkered flag. While all thought that Da Costa had put his rough start to the season behind him, the stewards and scrutineers had other ideas. Da Costa was disqualified from the race because a spring in his throttle pedal didn't comply with the technical regulations. The aghast Porsche team and Da Costa argue that the spring had been on the car since the start of season 9, an argument which only brings up more questions than it solves. The disqualifications handed the win to Oliver Rowland, his first in 4 years, and gave Nissan their first win as an independent team. So there you have it, the 8 times that Formula E drivers have lost race wins through disqualifications and penalties. They range from Bird's understandable penalty for ruining Lotterer's race to the downright absurd technical disqualifications such as the one suffered by Da Costa. And hopefully for the series' health and integrity, these kinds of incidents will become a rarity in Formula E's bright future.